At the Roselle Center for Healing, we care about your health and want to help you take your health in a new direction, far from drugs and surgery. Knowledge is the key to optimal wellness and control of your health. We offer free health education on chronic health conditions and natural integrative medicine treatments. Register for free today.
Attend Natural Solutions for Shoulder Pain on Wednesday, March 19th at 6 p.m. Space is limited, so register today. Call 703-698-7117 or visit rosellecare.com.
The information provided on Dr. Tom Roselle Live by Dr. Tom Roselle, D.C., interview guests, show co-hosts, or substitute hosts is not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. It is for general information purposes only. Information from this broadcast should not replace the appropriate consultation and examination process by a licensed physician. Always consult your own physician prior to changing any current medical directive or prescription.
This is Dr. Tom Roselle Live on 105.9 FM WMAL.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. This is Dr. Tom, and we got another Sunday program for you, one that hopefully is going to turn on a few buttons in your head and understand a couple things a little bit more clearly. And what are we talking about? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about this garbage out there about the measles, and everybody's saying, oh, my God, oh, my God. And I want to shed a little light on that for you and get you to have a little better understanding. But more importantly, I want to remind you that coming up on the 19th of this month at the Roselle Center in Fairfax, Virginia, we're going to be doing a night on your shoulder pain and the things that can cause it and where that shoulder pain may be coming from. We talked a little bit about it might be from the heart, it could be from your spine, it could be from other organ systems as well, based on that muscle-organ neurological connection. And unfortunately, sometimes we just think it's a slap tear or it's an inflammatory bursitis or a tendonitis and so forth. But we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to add a different piece to that today. But before we get into it, and again, if you want to attend, and we hope that you will, and so you can go back and play a little golf, you can go back and play a little tennis, and get that thing so it doesn't return again, we want to make sure that that you have all the data. So make sure you go online, drtomroselle.com or Roselle Care, C-A-R-E, ROSELLECARE.com, and register. Just scroll down, you'll see the ad for it, and just register. And it's our gift to you. This is the way that we continue to give you as much information as you possibly need. In many cases, know far more than what your doctors know about these conditions. So if that's the case, guess what? You get to ask better questions. Every time somebody tells you something you reframe it and you ask, what's the real meaning, cause, triggering mechanisms behind things. So join us on the 19th. I'm going to show you. We're going to demonstrate. We're going to have some fun with it. And I promise you'll go away a much more educated person. Having said that, go register. Do it right now. And let's get into the program a little bit before we touch upon the shoulder again. Listen, what I want you to understand is that, so much of what's out there is manipulation of statistics. When I was in undergraduate school and then in professional school, I had to do statistics on all kinds of things. And the problem is that these statistics can be manipulated and then the emotional onslaught put on top of it. Instead of just showing you data. I was talking to somebody the other day. Many of you, my generation, know this old guy that ran for president years ago by the name of Ross Perot. And he was really great. You know why I liked him? He'd sit there with charts and he would show you specifically what took place relative to what was going on. There was no emotion. There was nothing. It was just, here's the deal. This is what's going to happen. And we see a lot of that in the media today. That in the Doge group, if you will, are saying this is what's happening. This is what's going on. My only push away is that it's accurate, but it's not what you say, but how you say it. It's the delivery that's important, so everybody can really understand it. We have an ongoing push-pull reaction, as we should. Somebody has one opinion, somebody has another opinion. It's looking at things multidimensionally. But having said that, make sure that you look at things from multiple platforms before you make a decision. Unfortunately, over the period of years, we have not been trained to do that. So remember, statistics are nothing more than somebody's input of data in a way that it can be manipulated to prove a point. Okay? That's really all it is. So let's talk about some of the stuff that's out there. Everybody's going crazy right now because of the measles, right? Oh my God. You know, Bob Kennedy is not going to have, he's going to put away the measles or vaccines, and we can't protect ourselves and so forth. So let's roll the clock back, right? Measles cases in 2025, this old year. And I'm reading statistically from where the CDC. So let's do it, right? So as of February 27th, last week, there was a total of 164 measles cases that were reported by 9 reporting jurisdictions. And we're talking from Alaska all the way to Rhode Island, New York, Kentucky, Georgia, New Mexico, and so forth. Now, when you see statistics, you have to break them down into different data as well. So the total number of cases, we'll say 164 as of that reporting, right? More of it now this last couple of weeks. But you break it down. Now, under 5 years of age, 34% of those cases were under 5. Now, 48% were 5 to 19-year-olds. 18 were 20 to 29-year-olds, and then there's 1% they don't know what, they didn't figure out the data. Now, they're saying that the vaccination status was, here's how you have to look at it: unvaccinated or unknown status. Now, that kind of takes that, and they're saying that's 95% of the cases. Well, how many of those were unknown and vaccinated or had been exposed, and they already had natural immunity and so forth? Let me tell you a story. I'm one of these guys that my children growing up were not vaccinated. That was my choice. That was our family choice. Why? Because I'm a natural health care practitioner, and we did other things that bring up their immune system. We did everything that we could to strengthen their body's ability to deal with it. That's your natural immunological response to any viral pattern. So as the other kids in the neighborhood would have measles or mumps back in the day, right? What did we do as a family? We told them, why don't you go play with your friends? And were we afraid? No, because we knew that their dietary patterns were good. They had good chiropractic care. They got acupuncture. We didn't let them eat junk in the house. And so their immunological responses were strong. So neither one of the kids over the years got measles, or at least the presence of it with all the spots and so forth. And you had the German measles, the 9-day measles, and which one is which? Which one are you dealing with? So my daughter gets ready to go to college, and she's been accepted, but she has to show proof of either having been vaccinated for measles or that her titers were high. And she goes, Dad, what am I going to do? I've never been vaccinated. I said, honey, you remember all those times when we sent you out to play with your friends who had measles? And she looked at me and she said, yes. She said, I promise you that your titers are over the top. So she didn't believe me at first. I said, let's just go get the blood test. And she comes back and she's smiling from ear to ear, and her titers were over the top. Why? Because her natural immune system had been supported, and that protected her, and she built an antibody, a very high one, against that. So she went to college, and no harm, no foul. She was great. So you have to take statistical analysis like this one, unvaccinated or unknown of all these people. How many of them were unknown? And then how many of them were known? And even people who were vaccinated in this big group were not reported as doing. They're just telling you, we didn't know. How many were done? We don't know. But they report it as, they'll take one piece of it and says, unvaccinated status, within the group of 95% of people who got it. Well, maybe, maybe not, right? So then they go to the hospitalization rates in 2025, up until the end of February. And they said 20% of those cases were hospitalized. Okay. Now, why were they hospitalized? and they go children under 5 years of age and 5 to 19 years of age and 20 above and so forth. And they go from, 29% to 13% to 17%, but they don't tell you why. They don't tell you what took place. So how many people died from this cohort, this big group of 164 people? And it comes down to one confirmed death due to measles. So they're saying only one person died because of the measles. Out of 164, that's less than 0.75%. It's getting into that 0.5% range, about 0.65, if you will. But anyway, measles cases in 2024. Okay, so we roll the clock back, and as of December of last year, there were 285 measles cases that were reported in these. There's 33 jurisdictions that reported, right? There had been 16 outbreaks, and an outbreak is defined as 3 cases or more. 3 cases, that's an outbreak. That's, oh my God, 3 cases, right? Well, I don't know about you, but you have a better chance of, getting hit by a car and dying than this number that they're reporting. And 69% of those 198 to 285 outbreaks, they were associated with this whole thing. Now, when you take a look at the statistics, and this is what I want you to really understand, it doesn't make a lot of sense unless you start digging. And then you go down to the group and said 40% of cases hospitalized, for isolation or for management of measles. They were isolated and hospitalized. So the next questions become, were they hospitalized preventatively because the medical association said, oh my God, we can't let these people out there because they're going to spread the disease? Could that be? I'm telling you, that's part of the rationale that goes by that. The data shows that. And, if you go, so you're going to get this. So airborne anything, the measles being one of them, can be extremely infectious if the host, the recipient, is not in a good immunological supportive state. All right? So understand this. But all you're going to hear is measles are extremely infectious. So they take things out of context and tell you what's taking place. And then they go through these, as an estimated 48,000 people were hospitalized and 400 to 500 people died in the United States. Well, did they die of that? It was like COVID. Somebody died of a car accident and they had a positive, COVID virus test. They died of COVID, even though what killed them was the car accident. The same thing with a lot of these statistics. You have to dig deeper, and you have to ask this question, as I've tried to get you guys to understand over a period of time. Who wrote the article? What did they have to gain by it? And who paid for it? That last piece is the tell-all. So please be cautious. It's not that I'm saying haphazardly, oh, don't worry about it. What I'm saying to you is this. You have options once you understand it. Understanding it means that if your immune system is not working the way it's supposed to, you're going to be more susceptible to all kinds of things. So when we look at your immunological responses, we're looking at, do you have a neurological irritation? In my world, in the osteopathic world, we call it either a spinal subluxation or a spinal lesion. All that means is simply that the bones in your spine are not aligned properly, and they're causing a stretch reaction or a compression reaction on the spinal cord or the nerve, causing a signaling problem that says, we got a problem here, okay? And the body's not going to respond normally. Are you eating junk? Sugar, sodas, coffee, black teas, fast food, fried foods, alcohol, gluten, preservatives, GMO modified foods, and so forth. Is that garbage going into your system? Are you eating things that are being injected, by all kinds of crazy? Are you susceptible to Roundup? And in this country, lots. That's why you can't export food into Europe. They won't take it because we have garbage in our environment. So you owe it to yourself to really understand why these statistical pieces say what they say. And they say what they say because somebody's trying to prove a point. When I'm writing an article and I'm publishing it in a professional journal or doing a white paper, I've got to include data. And when I put the statistical data in there, do you think I'm going to put data in there that is not supportive of the position that I'm taking? I promise you that I may mention it and say there's diverse opinions and so forth, and here's where you can look for them. But the stuff that I'm going to present, I'm going to try to cherry pick the best pieces of the puzzle that I possibly can. Okay, let's go on. Now enough of my grandstanding, bully pulpit, sitting there lecturing to you and so forth. But let's really talk about what's coming up on the 19th at the Roselle Center for Healing. We're going to be talking about shoulder pain, right? And so everybody thinks that I talk about the little things. Let's talk about the big things. Let's talk about shoulder pain that can be a result of something called a tumor, a lung cancer, something that nature. Yep, it can. We talked about the heart before. But I want you to know that it's like very, very, very small piece. That's where when, I use the statement, if you hear hoofbeats, right? Look for horses, not zebras. Look for the most common thing. The zebra in this situation is going to be the rare bug. It's going to be the Pancoast tumor. That's something that gets in the upper portion of the lung area, and it can be very deadly. Horner syndrome, same type of thing. A mesothelioma. It starts in the mesothelia, which is the lining around the organs, including the lung and so forth. And it can metastasize into the pleura. When they talk about the pleura means the lung. I'm giving you the terms so you can go look it up yourself. The main risk factor for something like that is exposures to your environment. If I come to you, I don't feel good, my shoulders hurt, my neck hurts, and I know that there's somebody that's been around insulation for a long period of time and doing certain things like that, or heavy smokers, or have other things, I'm going to start getting really curious about, let's go get a chest x-ray. What do you mean chest x-ray? Yeah, just, humor me. Let's go get a chest x-ray. And we'll see what that shows up. So the shoulder pain always mean something bad. No, it means that you got to find out functionally what's going on. And so if it's a lung problem, a lung tumor, a lung cancer, a fibrosis that's occurring in the lung, it's pain that is they're going to be worse if you're a smoker, right? But here's the deal. The pain doesn't change on movement. It occurs during rest as well as activity. It's always there. It's not associated with lifting in any strenuous activity. It's not necessarily stopping the motion, your functional capacity. And it doesn't resolve itself. It doesn't modify after a few weeks, after a couple months. Some people think if I leave it alone, it'll rust up and go away. This one, no. And even with shoulder functional problems, pinched nerves and muscles that don't work and injury patterns and slap tears and so forth, there's positions that you can put your body into that the pain is not bad. It doesn't cause an issue. And that tells you it's neurological or it's biomechanical. It's not a tumor. Tumors in the lung can also press on the lymph system, the blood vessels, and cause buildup and backup of fluid. And you start breathing poorly. So if that's the deal, right, that kind of, let's go get this thing checked out. How about just an old-fashioned chest x-ray? But we have to rule out as we've talked about over the last several weeks, minor injury, posture patterns, frozen shoulder, the inability of the muscles to work. There might be even a fracture. We talked about that about a week ago. If you're older and your calcium level's down, you can get these breaks, these cracks in the bone. And that's on you. That's telling you that you're osteopenic, osteoporotic, and you haven't been taking care of yourself, and your vitamin D level is probably down around your toenails. If that's the case, you better doing something about it before you do fall down and break that thing horizontally. Now, that little joint space. I told you years ago that I had a, silliness of me. I had a motorcycle accident, came off the motorcycle and tried to stop the bike from getting all broke up. But in doing that, I laid it down and popped my AC joint. And talk about painful. It was painful. Over the years, once I got it functional, I got it mechanically to work the way it was supposed to. I had to keep my shoulders strong. I had to work out. How many of you do anything to put any strength in your body? I would gather to say that if you don't exercise on a regular basis, you've got pain coming from a lot of different places. And something as simple as getting your body postural back the way it's supposed to, starting an exercise program, making sure that you're living the 80-20 rule, meaning 80% of the time that your diet is really clean, 20% of the time, you get to screw it up a little bit, not horrendously, but some. You want that glass of wine, that's cool. You want that 81% dark chocolate, that's cool. But you have to understand the consequences of your not paying attention to what it is that's causing problems to come about. So we talked a little bit about thyroid problem being reflected into the shoulder. Why? Because you have a long muscle from the back of your shoulder going up into your neck, and that's called the levator scapula. Elevating the shoulder blade is what it really means. And if that sucker's not working, guess what? You got shoulder pain. You're going to hurt. It doesn't seem to want to go away. So we have to pay attention to all those pieces. But when it comes to the ugliness, the real bad problems, the tumors, the pressure on different systems due to space-occupying stuff, the cancers, all of those crazy things, most of those conditions are, very rare, number one. They don't show up except on, when you hear the zebras, not the horses. And I've got you to begin to realize that there are signs and symptoms that really don't mean anything, but if you know what they are, the ones that you have to really pay attention to, then you do that. So what am I talking about? You can't breathe too well, shortness of breath. And that happens with just mild activity. It could be your heart too. It could be that you're way out of shape, but it could be, persistent cough, could be coughing up blood, could be you're losing weight without a reason. All of those things can be problematic. So let's pay attention to what really is. And join me on Wednesday night, the 19th, 6 p.m. at the Roselle Center for Healing, and we'll go through it. We're going to have some fun with it. We're going to put it together and make sure you understand the difference between shoulder pain that is caused by a major problem, which most of the time, the greatest majority of the time, it's not a strain, a degeneration, a frozen shoulder, a slap tear, the muscles that are not working because you're not using them. And, if your pain isn't going away, despite the things that you might be doing, that's the time that say, hey, we got to do that. But when we talk about pain, we talk about not just sharp, shooting, burning, stabbing, ugliness. We're also talking about just a general ache that comes about because you haven't been doing what you should be doing. And you think it's going to rust up and go away, to use that expression again. So if you want to get that shoulder fixed, if you want to be able to go, play golf again, you want to be able to hit that tennis ball again, here, we're going to give you that opportunity. We're going to tell you what to do. We're going to show you how to differentially diagnose. The problem is that even though sometimes we know what we should be doing, it's tough to get ourselves motivated to do it. But you got to decide, do you want to live with impairment? Or do you want to be able to do something about it? Well, I don't know where you are, but I'm trying to figure out, even after all the years I've been in practice and on the planet, how I got to get another 30, 35 years out of life and, beat everybody's expectation and be around to aggravate the crap out of everyone. Did I say that? Yeah, I did. But I'm the guy that's going to be doing that on an ongoing basis. And just remember, I want to give you that opportunity to be able to decide and be able to put things back together. We're coming up to a break. I want you to make sure that you follow me on live stream. Go to drtomroselle.com and kick the button, or if you're following me on all social media sites, which you should be, then you'll be able to be notified immediately. But join me right now. We'll get into this a little deeper. Remember, I'm here for you, and I do this for one reason only. I love you all. Have a great Sunday. Take care. See you soon.
Breast cancer is a major health risk to all women. It can silently grow uninterrupted for years. Breast cancer is a major health risk to all women. It can silently grow uninterrupted for years. The Thermography Centers of Fairfax reminds all women to conduct monthly and annual breast exams. Consider a thermography scan from the Thermography Centers as an adjunct to your routine breast exams. Digital infrared thermal imaging is safe and non-invasive. For more information and to schedule an appointment, call 703-520-7591 or visit thermographycenters.com.
Neuromuscular dentistry is more than just teeth and gums. Neuromuscular joint disorder can be painful, and only a skilled neuromuscular dentist can diagnose and treat it. Hi, this is Dr. Tom Roselle, host of Dr. Tom Roselle Live. If you're in pain and suffering from TMD, call the neuromuscular dentistry experts at Soft Touch Dental Care. Learn more about TMD and how Dr. Michael Chung has successfully treated his patients. Visit softtouchdentalcare.com or call 703-319-6990.
At the Roselle Center for Healing, we care about your health and want to help you take your health in a new direction, far from drugs and surgery. Knowledge is the key to optimal wellness and control of your health. We offer free health education on chronic health conditions and natural integrative medicine treatments. Register for free today.
Attend Natural Solutions for Shoulder Pain on Wednesday, March 19th at 6 p.m. Space is limited, so register today. Call 703-698-7117 or visit rosellecare.com.
This is Dr. Tom Roselle. After 43 years of practice and over 1 million patient visits, the Roselle Center for Healing knows what works and knows how you can take control of your health and wellness. My team of doctors practice 21st century integrative medicine. Whether you suffer from chronic pain and fatigue, allergies, or headaches, we can help. Take charge of your health before it's too late. Make an appointment today. Call 703-698-7117 or visit online at rosellecare.com. That's rosellecare.com.